She wondered, "Is there room in your bed?" I replied. "What if you meant to stay here forever?" Alara Miles stood silently, her hands tucked into the pockets of her suit. The planet beneath her was alive in color. Deep green forests stretched to the horizon, interrupted by rivers that glinted like silver ribbons in the alien sunlight. This was Arden 9, a planet that no human had ever set foot on before, and for Alara it was breathtaking. "Dr. Miles, status report," called a voice over the comlink. It was Captain Adrian Cole standing a few meters away, his helmet off, exposing a face tanned by years of space travel. His brown eyes scanned the terrain, wary but excited. Alara looked down at her scanner, its holographic display flickering with readings of the atmosphere, gravity, and magnetic fields. "Atmosphere is breathable with minimal filtration," she said. "Gravity is slightly higher than Earth, but nothing humans can't adjust to." "No immediate dangers detected," Adrian nodded, running a hand through his short hair. "Good. Let's make a quick sweep of the landing area before we set up the habitat pods. Remember, the science team stays close. Arden 9 is uncharted. We don't know what's waiting for us out there." Alara followed him down the ramp of the ship, her boots crunching on the strange, reddish soil. The air smelled faintly sweet, like a mix of rain and flowers. She inhaled deeply. It was rare to encounter a planet that was not immediately hostile, one where humans could breathe freely without fear. "This is beautiful," she murmured, almost to herself. Adrian glanced at her. "It's new. It's ours to study, to explore, but beauty can be dangerous. Remember that." They moved cautiously, scanning the terrain with handheld sensors. Birds, or something resembling birds, flew overhead, their wings shimmering with colors that Alara had no words for. The forests were dense but inviting, the trees tall and strong. She felt a thrill run through her body, the kind she always felt when stepping onto a completely new world. "Look at that," she said, pointing to a clearing ahead. Something gleamed in the sunlight, partially hidden by vines and bushes. It was metallic, unlike anything natural on this planet. Adrian frowned. "Could be debris," he said, "or something else." They approached carefully. As the vines fell away, a structure came into view. It was a building, old but intact, made of a silver material that reflected the sunlight. Its edges were smooth, almost organic in shape, as if it had grown rather than been built. Strange symbols were etched into the walls, glowing faintly in a pale blue light. Alara's heart raced. "An alien outpost," she whispered. "It's perfect, preserved." Adrian's hand rested on his sidearm, though he didn't draw it. "Stay alert. We don't know if it's abandoned or if whatever built it is still here." Alara stepped forward, her gloved hand brushing the wall. The surface was warm under her touch, almost pulsing slightly, as if alive. Her mind swirled with questions. Who built this? Why was it left behind? And most importantly, why did it feel like it had been waiting for them? "Let's take samples," she said, pulling out her scanner. She moved along the wall, recording everything: the symbols, the material composition, even the faint energy readings that seemed to hum in the air. Adrian circled the building, keeping an eye on the surrounding forest. After a few minutes, the scanner beeped with a high-priority alert. Alara frowned. "Energy readings, they're fluctuating, like the building is responding to us." Adrian's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. Buildings don't respond." "This isn't just a building," Alara said, her voice trembling with excitement. "It's alive somehow, or it's designed to feel alive. Look at this." She pointed to a symbol that shifted slightly under her gaze, as if it were aware of her attention. Adrian stepped closer, his skepticism fading as he felt the subtle vibrations in the air. "We need to document this carefully. Don't touch anything else yet." For the next hour, they worked in silence, absorbing the strange, almost mystical energy of the outpost. Every corner revealed new wonders. Panels that displayed strange patterns when approached, corridors that seemed to rearrange themselves, and a faint hum that resonated in the chest like a heartbeat. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with colors humans had no names for, Adrian signaled that it was time to return to the landing platform. "We'll come back tomorrow with the rest of the team," he said. Alara hesitated. She wanted to stay to explore every secret this alien place held, but she nodded and followed him back. That night inside the temporary habitat pod, Alara lay on her bunk, staring at the ceiling. The pod was small, cramped even, but cozy enough. Adrian was on the other bunk, reading mission reports on a tablet. The hum of the life support system was the only sound. Alara's mind kept drifting back to the outpost, the symbols, the pulsing walls, the sense that the planet itself was alive and aware of their presence. She realized with a thrill she couldn't hide that humans weren't just visitors here, they were participants. Somehow, Arden 9 seemed to want them here. Adrian glanced at her. "You're quiet." "I'm thinking," she said, "about the outpost, about the planet. It feels like it's waiting for us, like it knew we'd come." Adrian chuckled softly. "You're romanticizing alien architecture again." Alara smiled faintly, but her thoughts were elsewhere. There was a strange comfort in this small pod, on this new world with the stars stretched endlessly above them. She wondered about permanence, about finding a place to belong, even on a world so alien. "You okay?" Adrian asked after a pause, noticing her gaze lingering on the window. "I don't know," she admitted. "It's just, I've spent my life traveling from planet to planet, seeing new worlds, leaving them behind. And for the first time, I feel like I could stay somewhere. Like maybe I don't have to leave this one." Adrian said nothing for a moment, then replied softly, "What if you meant to stay here forever?" Alara turned to him, startled. His brown eyes were steady, but there was an openness in his expression that made her heart flutter. She didn't answer immediately. Words felt inadequate, but something unspoken passed between them, a recognition that this moment, this planet, this strange, beautiful, alien world was special. Outside, the wind whispered through the habitat, carrying the scent of strange flowers and the faint energy from the outpost beyond the forest. The stars above shimmered like distant beacons, and for the first time in a long time, Alara felt a sense of home. Adrian returned to his tablet, giving her space, but she stayed by the window a little longer, watching Arden 9 breathe beneath the alien sky. She imagined the forest glowing in the soft starlight, alive with mysteries yet to be discovered. Somewhere in that vastness, humans had a place, and maybe, just maybe, she had found hers. By the time she finally lay down, sleep carried her slowly into dreams filled with silver forests, pulsing walls, and the quiet, steady hum of a planet that had welcomed them. Tomorrow would bring exploration, discovery, and maybe even answers. But tonight, for the first time in a long journey across the stars, Alara felt the quiet, steady beat of possibility. Humans, she realized, could adapt anywhere. But here on Arden 9, she felt something rarer, a chance to truly belong. The sun rose slowly over Arden 9, painting the alien sky in shades of pink and gold. The forest below shimmered in early light, the leaves glistening with dew that sparkled like tiny jewels. The air was fresh and cool, carrying the scent of strange flowers and damp soil. Dr. Alara Miles stepped outside the habitat pod, stretching her arms as she breathed deeply. Captain Adrian Cole was already waiting near the edge of the landing platform, scanning the horizon with his binoculars. His expression was serious, but there was a quiet excitement in his eyes. "Morning, Dr. Miles," he said. "Sleep well," Alara smiled. "Better than I have in weeks. There's something about this place, it's different." Adrian lowered his binoculars and looked at her. "Different can be good or bad," he said. "I hope it's the good kind." Alara laughed softly. "I think it is. I've never felt this calm on a new planet before. Usually there's fear, uncertainty, or danger, but here it's like Arden 9 is watching over us." Adrian raised an eyebrow. "Watching over us, huh? You're sure you're not imagining things?" She shook her head, her dark hair falling over her shoulders. No, I feel it. I can't explain it, but I know we're not just visitors here. Somehow the planet acknowledges us. He studied her for a moment, then nodded. All right, let's get to work. The outpost is still waiting, and we've got a lot to explore today. Together, they walked down the gentle slope that led to the alien forest. The path was soft underfoot, covered in moss-like plants that seemed to sway when they stepped near. Birds, or creatures that resembled birds, fluttered above them, singing melodies that sounded almost musical to human ears. Alara's scanner beeped softly. There's more energy around the outpost than we noticed yesterday, she said, glancing at the readings. It's fluctuating, almost like it's responding to our presence again. Adrian glanced at her. Maybe it's trying to communicate. Alara's eyes widened. Or maybe it's just curious. Either way, it's amazing. The two of them moved carefully through the forest, following the scanner's readings. As they approached the outpost, its metallic walls glimmered in the sunlight. The alien symbols along its surface seemed to shift subtly, as if welcoming them back. Adrian paused at the edge of the clearing, looking at Alara. You go first, he said. I'll cover the surroundings. Alara stepped inside, her boots making soft sounds on the smooth floor. The outpost's interior was as mysterious as she remembered. Corridors twisted in impossible ways, panels glowed faintly, and the air hummed with a gentle vibration. She reached out, touching one of the symbols. The wall responded immediately, lights pulsing brighter under her fingers. Adrian entered after a moment, keeping his eyes on the forest through the open doorway. It's almost alive, he said quietly. Yes, Alara whispered. I think it's trying to connect with us. They moved deeper into the outpost together, exploring the twisting corridors and strange rooms. One chamber contained a collection of crystalline objects, each glowing with a faint internal light. When Alara touched one, she saw flashes of movement, images of alien beings living in harmony with the planet, building structures and nurturing their world. These were peaceful, she said, amazed. They didn't conquer or destroy. They lived with the planet, not against it. Adrian studied the crystals carefully. Humans could learn a lot from that. Maybe this planet wants us to learn the same. Alara nodded, feeling a strange sense of connection. It's like Arden 9 chose us to continue that legacy. Hours passed as they explored. Eventually, they returned to the habitat pod for a brief rest. Alara sat near the small observation window, staring out at the forest. The gentle rustle of leaves and distant bird calls filled the room. Adrian was organizing samples from the outpost nearby, but he occasionally glanced at her. You're quiet, he said, thinking about the outpost again. I can't stop thinking about it, she admitted. It's alive in a way we don't fully understand. And it feels like it's showing us something about ourselves. Adrian leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Maybe it's reminding us why humans are special, our ability to feel, to connect. Even on a planet that's completely alien, we can adapt and understand. Alara smiled. Exactly, that's what makes us us. There was a moment of silence. Then almost shyly, Alara spoke again. Adrian, last night when I was looking out the window, I wondered something. I mean, she hesitated, searching for the words. Is there room in your bed? Adrian froze, looking at her. The question was simple, but it carried a weight that made his chest tighten. Then slowly a small smile appeared on his face. What if you meant to stay here forever? Alara blinked, startled by his reply. Her heart raced. The words were soft, but they carried something deeper, a promise, a question, an invitation. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she let the silence speak for her. Adrian returned to his work, but the atmosphere between them had shifted. There was a quiet intimacy, an unspoken understanding that they could rely on each other, not just for survival, but for something more. The rest of the day passed with exploration and testing. They collected samples of plants, soil, and strange crystals from the forest, all while keeping an eye on the outpost. The energy readings continued to fluctuate, growing stronger whenever they were near certain symbols or structures. "Do you feel it?" Alara asked during a break, sitting on a fallen log. "The way the planet reacts to us," Adrian nodded. "Yeah, it's like we're part of something bigger, something alive." Alara leaned back, closing her eyes. "I've spent my life traveling from planet to planet, seeing new worlds, leaving them behind. But here, I feel like I could stay, like maybe this is where we're meant to be." Adrian sat beside her, keeping a respectful distance but close enough to share the quiet moment. "Humans can adapt anywhere," he said softly. "But finding a place to belong, that's rare. Maybe we found it." They didn't speak for a while. The forest around them was alive with soft sounds, the rustle of leaves, distant calls of unknown creatures, the faint hum of the outpost in the distance. The air felt charged, almost electric, as if Arden 9 itself were listening. Alara opened her eyes and looked at Adrian. "Do you ever wonder if humans are meant to do more than just survive? That maybe we're meant to connect, to leave a mark, even on worlds like this?" Adrian considered her question carefully. "Yes, and I think that's what makes us human. It's not just our technology or strength, it's our curiosity, our compassion, and our ability to care. That's what survives. That's what leaves a mark." Alara nodded, feeling warmth spread through her chest. In that moment, she realized that survival wasn't just about food, water, or shelter. It was about connection, connection to others, connection to the world, and connection to something greater than themselves. As the day turned to evening, they returned to the habitat pod. The sky was painted in shades of deep purple and gold, the stars beginning to appear one by one. Inside the pod, the air was warm and quiet. Adrian sat on his bunk, reviewing data from the day, while Alara stood at the window, watching the alien night unfold. "You know," she said softly, "for the first time I don't feel like a visitor. I feel like I belong." Adrian looked up from his tablet, his eyes meeting hers. "Then maybe Arden 9 was waiting for you, waiting for us." Alara smiled, a small, genuine smile that reached her eyes. "Maybe, and maybe that's enough." They didn't speak again that night. Instead, they let the quiet of the pod, the hum of the life support system, and the glow of the alien stars outside speak for them. It was a moment of peace, of understanding, of connection, both to each other and to the strange, beautiful world they had discovered. Before sleep took her, Alara whispered to herself, "What if this is where I'm meant to stay?" And for the first time, she felt no fear in asking the question. Arden 9, with all its mysteries and wonders, had given her a choice, and she was ready to embrace it. The morning sun barely touched the horizon when Alara awoke. Light filtered through the habitat pod, casting soft shadows across the room. She rose quietly, careful not to wake Adrian, and looked out the window. Arden 9 was alive with color. Mist rolled gently through the forests, giving the trees a silvery glow. The air was crisp, filled with scents she had not known existed before. Adrian stirred beside her, rubbing his eyes. "Morning," he said. "Morning," she replied, her voice soft. "The planet, it's beautiful at dawn," Adrian nodded. "Then let's see what else it has for us today." After a quick breakfast, they set out for the outpost again. Yesterday's discoveries had left them with more questions than answers. The energy readings had fluctuated in ways they could not explain. Every symbol, every glowing panel seemed to react to their presence. Alara felt drawn to it, a mixture of curiosity and awe guiding her steps. As they entered the outpost, the corridors shimmered faintly under their footsteps. The walls pulsed softly, like a heartbeat. The same crystalline objects from the previous day glowed brighter when they approached. "Alara," Adrian said, "look at this." He pointed to a crystal at the center of the room. Unlike the others, this one was larger and shaped like a prism. Its internal light shifted constantly, showing images that seemed to move on their own. Alara approached, carefully placing her hand on its smooth surface. Immediately, a vision appeared before her eyes. She saw the alien planet as it once was, long before humans arrived. Tall, elegant beings moved gracefully among the forests. Their skin shimmered in colors that changed with emotion. They built structures in harmony with the land, never forcing it, never harming it. They lived with the planet, she whispered, awe in her voice, not against it. They understood it, they respected it. Adrian reached out cautiously. Can you see what they were feeling? Alara nodded slowly. Love, curiosity, pride, joy. They weren't like humans exactly, but they had something similar, something that feels familiar. The crystal shimmered and projected more visions. Alara saw the beings communicating, not with words, but with energy and emotion. Their connection with the planet was undeniable. Trees and rivers seemed to respond to them. The air itself vibrated with their thoughts and feelings. Adrian studied her closely. Do you think the planet still has that connection, that same life force? I think it does, she replied. And somehow it recognizes us. Maybe it sees humans as capable of understanding it. Or maybe it's testing us. As they explored further, Alara noticed that the energy readings grew stronger in certain areas. They led her to a chamber she had not seen before. The walls of this room were covered in alien symbols, glowing softly. In the center stood a pedestal, and on it rested a small, crystalline cube. Its light pulsed like a heartbeat. This one's different, Alara said, picking up the cube carefully. The moment her fingers touched it, a wave of images and sensations rushed through her mind. She staggered slightly, caught off guard. Adrian caught her arm. Alara, are you okay? She nodded quickly, still catching her breath. It's overwhelming. I can see their memories, their history, their emotions. Everything they experienced is here. Adrian's eyes widened. The planet and this outpost, it wasn't just a home for them. It's a record, a memory, maybe even a guide. Alara turned her gaze back to the cube. It's like they left a part of themselves behind, waiting for someone to understand it, waiting for us. The two of them spent hours studying the cube and the symbols in the chamber. They discovered that the symbols responded to emotion. When Alara focused on curiosity or excitement, the lights brightened. When Adrian thought of caution or fear, the lights dimmed. Arden 9 was not passive. It was aware, interacting with them through these strange crystals and symbols. This planet, it adapts to us, Adrian said slowly. Not just the environment, but us, humans. It's studying our emotions, our reactions. Maybe it wants to see if we're worthy of something. Alara considered his words. Or maybe it wants to teach us something. Maybe it wants to show us that life can exist in harmony. That survival isn't just about strength or technology, it's about understanding, respect, and connection. Adrian nodded. Humans are capable of that. That's what makes us strong. We adapt, we feel, we learn. Arden 9 may be testing us, but we're ready. The rest of the day passed in a mixture of excitement and careful observation. They documented every crystal, every symbol, and every fluctuation in energy. The planet's response to their presence was almost immediate. When they laughed or joked, the crystals shimmered brighter. When they grew cautious or hesitant, the light dimmed. Arden 9 seemed to have an intelligence that was entirely different from human reasoning, but equally complex. At one point, they paused to rest in a small chamber filled with soft, glowing panels. The air was warm and the light was gentle. Adrian turned to Alara. You know, he said, we're not just explorers here, we're participants. The planet is responding to us because we're alive, because we're humans. Alara smiled faintly. It's strange and wonderful. Even on a world so alien, humans can make a difference. Even here, we matter. Adrian watched her, a quiet understanding in his eyes. You've changed since yesterday, he said softly. There's something about this place and you. It's like it's bringing out who we really are. Alara felt a warmth rise in her chest. She turned her gaze to him, remembering the words they shared the night before. What if Arden 9 is showing us that humans belong here, not just as visitors but as something more? Adrian smiled faintly. Then maybe it's right. Maybe humans can leave a mark on any world, through courage, through curiosity, through understanding. That's what makes us human. Alara's thoughts drifted back to the crystalline cube. The aliens, they left their history here. Not for conquest, not for power, but for understanding. Maybe they trusted that someone like us would come and learn. Adrian reached out, lightly touching her arm. And maybe that someone is us. Humans have survived the impossible. We've adapted to countless worlds. But this is special. We're part of something bigger. Alara nodded, feeling a sense of purpose she had never experienced before. The cube in her hands pulsed gently as if acknowledging her realization. Arden 9 was alive. It was intelligent. And it had chosen to connect with humans. As the day drew to a close, they made their way back to the habitat pod, carrying samples and crystals with care. The forest glowed softly in the fading light, the air humming with the planet's quiet energy. Alara felt a thrill of excitement mixed with calm. This was not just exploration. This was discovery on a level she had never imagined. Inside the pod, they cataloged their findings. The crystals, the symbols, the energy readings, all indicated that Arden 9 was unique, a living, learning world. Humans had the ability to understand it, and in turn, the planet was responding to them in ways that defied logic. Alara paused, looking at Adrian. Do you realize what this means? If humans can connect with this planet, not just survive, but truly connect, we could change the way humanity explores the universe. We could show that understanding and respect are just as important as technology or strength. Adrian nodded. Yes, and I think Arden 9 chose us because it sensed that about humans. Our curiosity, our empathy, our ability to adapt and learn, it recognized something it could trust. They sat in silence for a moment, letting the weight of their discovery sink in. The planet hummed softly around them, a steady, almost comforting presence. Arden 9 was alive, aware, and it had welcomed them into its memory. Alara held the crystalline cube carefully. It's not just a record, she said. It's a gift, a lesson. And we're the ones who get to learn it, Adrian smiled. Then we better make sure we understand it fully. Arden 9 has a lot to teach us. As night fell, the stars above shimmered like 1,000 tiny fires. The forest glowed with bioluminescent plants, casting soft, gentle light. Inside the habitat pod, Alara and Adrian shared a quiet meal, their minds buzzing with discovery but also with a growing bond. They were not just explorers or scientists, they were witnesses to something extraordinary. Alara glanced at Adrian, a small smile on her lips. I think we're going to stay longer than we planned. Adrian looked up, meeting her gaze. I don't think that's a bad idea, he said softly. For the first time, Alara felt certain that Arden 9 was more than a planet. It was a teacher, a guide, and perhaps even a companion. And humans with their curiosity, courage, and empathy, had the chance to leave a mark here, not through conquest, but through understanding. As she lay down that night, the crystalline cube beside her glowing softly, she whispered to herself, "We're part of something bigger, and we're ready." The planet seemed to hum in response, steady and alive, welcoming them into its eternal memory. The sky over Arden 9 was bright and calm when Alara and Adrian left the habitat pod. The planet's forest stretched endlessly, the sunlight reflecting off the dew-covered leaves. Today, they planned to explore a deeper region of the alien forest, following the energy readings that had grown stronger near the outpost. Alara adjusted her pack and glanced at Adrian. "Are you sure we should go this far today?" she asked, a hint of caution in her voice. Adrian smiled faintly. "The readings are stronger in this direction. Arden 9 is showing us something, and I think we're meant to find it. Don't worry, we'll stick together." As they moved through the forest, the atmosphere changed. The air became warmer and denser. Strange sounds echoed from the canopy above, like distant music or whispers. Trees curved gracefully, almost as if they were moving to guide the humans along. "This place is alive," Alara whispered. I feel it even more strongly here. Adrian nodded. It's testing us, I think. Testing how we respond to the unknown. They walked for hours, carefully avoiding uneven terrain and dense vegetation. Arden 9 was generous to those who respected it. Paths opened before them as if the forest itself wanted to lead them. But the deeper they went, the more unpredictable the environment became. Suddenly, the wind shifted. A low, rumbling vibration shook the ground beneath their feet. Adrian stopped, scanning the surroundings. "Something's coming," he said, his voice tense. Alara's heart raced. The energy readings from her scanner spiked, showing rapid fluctuations. "A storm, but not normal. This feels alive," she said, her voice tight with concern. Before they could react further, the sky darkened suddenly. Clouds twisted unnaturally, black and green streaking across the horizon. The wind howled through the forest, bending trees like reeds. Sparks of strange energy flickered in the air, striking the ground with sharp bursts of light. Arden 9 was showing its power. Adrian grabbed Alara's arm. "We need to find shelter now." They ran through the forest, guided partially by instinct and partially by the faint glow of energy readings. The storm was faster than any earthly storm. The air felt heavy, charged with electricity and something more, something almost conscious. The forest itself seemed to move against them, branches shifting and twisting to block their path. Alara's breath came in short gasps. "We can't outrun it," she shouted over the roar of the wind. Adrian's eyes scanned the terrain, searching for a safe place. "There!" he yelled, pointing toward a small canyon partially hidden by thick vegetation. They sprinted, leaping over roots and fallen logs. The storm followed them like a living predator, crackling and booming with terrifying intensity. Reaching the canyon, they ducked behind a large rock formation. Sparks of alien energy hit the ground nearby, sending small fires through the moss and leaves. Alara's hands shook as she clutched her pack. "What is this? It feels alive. It feels like it's angry." Adrian nodded, breathing heavily. "It's a storm, but it's different. Arden 9 is alive. This is a test." They huddled behind the rocks, watching the storm rage above them. The wind tore through the canyon, carrying strange sounds that made the air vibrate. Lightning flickered with colors they had never seen: violet, silver, and a deep green that seemed to pulse like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Hours passed. The storm's fury did not lessen, and the humans realized that Arden 9 was not acting randomly. It was responding to their presence, their fear, their attempts to survive. The planet itself was challenging them, testing their courage and resilience. Alara turned to Adrian, her eyes wide. "We can't just wait here. We have to show it that we can endure, that we can adapt." Adrian nodded, understanding immediately. "We've survived worse. Together we can survive this too." They carefully ventured out of the canyon, using the terrain for cover. The storm seemed to push back as they advanced, testing their determination. Branches whipped at them, strange energy sparks struck nearby, but they pressed forward, moving as a team. At one point, a large tree, twisted by the storm, fell across their path. Adrian grabbed Alara's hand, pulling her up just as the massive trunk crashed to the ground where they had stood moments before. Their hearts pounded, but they did not falter. Arden 9 was alive, and they were proving that humans could endure. Eventually, they reached a hidden cavern, partially concealed by vines and moss. Inside, the air was calm, and a soft glow emanated from crystalline structures embedded in the walls. The storm outside was loud, but within the cavern there was a strange sense of protection. Alara exhaled, relief flooding her. "We made it." Adrian looked around the cavern, his eyes thoughtful. "It's like the planet guided us here. It tested us and we passed." They explored the cavern, finding that the crystals inside pulsed with energy similar to what they had seen in the outpost. When they touched the walls, images appeared, visions of the alien species that had once lived on Arden 9, enduring their own trials, learning from the planet and growing stronger through challenges. Alara looked at Adrian, awe in her eyes. The storm, it wasn't just danger. It was part of the planet's teaching. It wanted to see if we could handle adversity, if we could survive as a species that understands and respects it. Adrian nodded. Humans adapt, we survive, and we learn. Arden 9 is showing us that we can do both, even on a world unlike any we've ever known. They spent hours in the cavern, resting and documenting the crystalline walls. Arden 9 seemed calm now, almost acknowledging their effort. The storm outside gradually lessened, the wind dying down, the clouds retreating, leaving the sky a deep purple as twilight settled over the forest. As night fell, the cavern glowed softly. Alara and Adrian set up a small camp, sharing a quiet meal. The tension of the storm had faded, leaving behind a profound sense of accomplishment and awe. Alara gazed at Adrian, her voice quiet. We've faced something that no human has faced before, and we survived. Not just because we're strong, but because we understand. Because we work together. Adrian looked at her, a gentle smile on his face. Humans have always survived. We've adapted to the harshest environments, crossed the stars, and learned from every challenge. Arden 9 is different, but we're still human, and that makes us capable of more than we know. Alara felt a warmth in her chest. The storm had tested them, but it had also taught them. They were not just visitors on Arden 9. They were participants, part of a world that recognized courage, respect, and resilience. I think we're ready for whatever comes next, she said softly, touching one of the glowing crystals. Arden 9 trusts us now. I can feel it. Adrian nodded, watching the cavern walls pulse gently with light. Then we continue, together. Humans have a way of leaving their mark, and I think this planet is giving us the chance to do it the right way. Alara smiled faintly, thinking about the words they had shared the first night in the habitat pod. What if we meant to stay here forever? She whispered, almost to herself. Adrian's gaze softened. Then maybe we should. Arden 9 has shown us that humans can thrive here, not just survive but grow, and we have each other. The two sat in silence, listening to the faint hum of the planet. Outside, the storm had passed completely, leaving only the distant rustle of leaves and the gentle glow of bioluminescent plants. Arden 9 was alive, aware, and it had tested them, and humans had proven their worth. That night, Alara slept with the crystal beside her, its soft glow filling the cavern. Adrian watched over her quietly, thinking about the day's challenges. Humans had faced adversity before, but this was different. They had faced a living world and survived. They had adapted not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. Arden 9 had challenged them, and they had risen to meet it. In the quiet of the cavern, the two humans felt a profound connection to each other, to the alien planet, and to the legacy of life itself. Arden 9 had taught them that survival was more than instinct or technology. It was courage, understanding, and connection. And humans, with all their flaws and strengths, were capable of all three. Alara awoke the next morning with a sense of calm determination. Arden 9 had tested them and they had endured. The storm was a memory now, a reminder that the planet was alive, intelligent, and capable of both challenge and guidance. She looked at Adrian, who was already awake, scanning the horizon. "Ready?" she asked. He smiled. "Always." Arden 9 has more to show us, and I think we're ready to learn it. Together, they stepped out of the cavern into the soft morning light. The forest stretched endlessly before them, serene but alive, filled with the promise of discovery. Arden 9 had challenged them, and humans had risen to the challenge, proving once again that they could adapt, endure, and thrive, even on a world unlike any they had known. The adventure was far from over. But Alara and Adrian faced it with courage, respect, and the quiet certainty that humans had a place here, and perhaps a purpose greater than they had ever imagined. The morning light fell softly on Arden 9, painting the forests in warm shades of gold and green. The storm from the previous day had passed completely, leaving the air crisp, clean, and charged with a gentle energy that seemed almost alive. Alara stood outside the cavern where she and Adrian had taken shelter, breathing deeply. For the first time since arriving on this planet, she felt a sense of stillness, a feeling that Arden 9 had not only tested them but had also acknowledged them. Adrian emerged from the cavern, carrying a small pack of supplies. He smiled at her. "Ready to continue exploring?" he asked. Alara nodded, though her mind was elsewhere. "Yes, but I've been thinking," she said softly, "about what we've discovered, what the planet has shown us, and what it means for us." Adrian paused, looking at her closely. "I think I know," he said. "You're thinking that maybe humans don't just visit planets, we belong somewhere, and maybe Arden 9 is that place." Alara smiled faintly. "Exactly. We've survived, we've learned, and we've connected. But more than that, I feel like we can build something here, something lasting." Adrian's eyes softened. "Humans have always adapted to the impossible. From the first steps on Earth to the stars, we've endured. But Arden 9 is different. Here, it's not just survival. It's understanding, respect, partnership." Together, they ventured into the forest, following the faint energy readings that pulsed softly from the outpost and the crystals they had collected. Arden 9 seemed to guide them, opening clearings where sunlight fell in perfect patches, and gently leading them toward the deeper parts of the forest. As they walked, they discovered new wonders: plants that glowed softly at night, trees with bark that shimmered in shifting colors, and creatures that moved gracefully, observing the humans without fear. Every step reinforced the sense that the planet was alive, intelligent, and aware of their presence. "This place," Alara said, her voice full of awe, "it's teaching us that humans are not just survivors, we're capable of more. We can leave a mark that respects the world, not destroys it." Adrian nodded. "And we have each other. That's what makes humans remarkable: courage, curiosity, and companionship." Eventually, they reached the crystalline outpost once more. The artifacts they had discovered before glowed brighter in response to their presence, almost as if recognizing them. The largest crystal, the one that had projected the alien history, pulsed steadily, like a heartbeat in sync with their own. Alara approached it, gently placing her hand on the smooth surface. The familiar visions appeared, the alien species building, exploring, and living in harmony with the planet. But this time, the images shifted. Among the aliens appeared two new figures, humans, walking confidently through the forests, studying the crystals, interacting respectfully with the world. It was them. Arden 9 was showing them a vision of the future, a possibility of humans thriving here, not as conquerors but as partners. Adrian joined her, his hand brushing hers. "It's showing us what could be. If we choose to stay, if we continue to learn, we can live here." Alara's heart raced. "Forever," she whispered. Adrian's eyes softened, reflecting the glowing crystal. "Yes, if we want, we could build a life here together. Arden 9 would welcome it." The thought settled over her like sunlight. For so long she had traveled from planet to planet, leaving every world behind. But Arden 9 was different. This planet responded to humans. It tested them, yes, but it also trusted them. And in its trust she saw a chance to belong. For hours they explored the outpost again, documenting every crystal, every symbol, every shift in energy. Each discovery reinforced the realization that Arden 9 was a living, intelligent entity. Humans had the ability to adapt, to survive, and to thrive here, not just as explorers, but as permanent participants in the life of the planet. As evening approached, they returned to the small cavern where they had weathered the storm. The glowing crystals inside lit the room with gentle, steady light. Alara and Adrian prepared a modest meal, their movements quiet but comfortable, as if this had become a routine they were meant to follow. After eating, Alara sat by one of the crystals, her thoughts drifting. "Do you think we're ready?" she asked softly. "To stay here, to build something permanent?" Adrian joined her, sitting close but not touching. "I think we are. Humans adapt, humans endure, but humans also understand. And Arden 9 has shown us that we can do more than survive. We can belong." Elara turned to him, a small smile spreading across her face. "And what about us?" He met her gaze steadily. "We've been through storms together. We've discovered worlds together. And now we have a choice. To stay, to build a life here together." For a long moment, they simply looked at each other, the quiet of the cavern and the gentle glow of the crystals filling the space between words. Then, almost in unison, they reached a decision without needing to speak it aloud. Arden 9 had given them a gift, a chance to belong, a chance to thrive, a chance to leave a mark of humanity that was not destructive but respectful and enduring. That night, as they lay side by side beneath the soft glow of the crystals, Elara whispered, "What if we meant to stay here forever?" Adrian reached out, lightly brushing her hand. "Then maybe we should," he said softly. "We have everything we need, each other and Arden 9." The planet hummed gently around them, a quiet, steady pulse that seemed to echo in their chests. Humans had always been explorers, travelers, survivors. But here, on this living, intelligent world, they were more than that. They were partners, learners, and part of something greater than themselves. In the days that followed, Elara and Adrian began to build a new life. They constructed a small, sustainable home using materials from the outpost and the surrounding forest. The structures harmonized with the environment, glowing softly at night with the energy of Arden 9 itself. The crystals were integrated into the design, not just as decoration, but as sources of knowledge and guidance. They planted gardens, using alien plants that responded to human care. They observed the wildlife, learning patterns and behaviors, ensuring that nothing was harmed. Every action, every choice, reinforced the bond between humans and the planet. Elara found herself smiling more often, laughing freely in ways she hadn't in years. Adrian's quiet strength and steady presence gave her a sense of security she had never known before. Together, they were creating a home, a life, and a future on Arden 9. One evening, as the sky turned a deep purple and stars shimmered above the forest, Elara and Adrian stood on a small hill overlooking their new home. The crystals glowed softly, the forest hummed quietly, and the air was filled with the gentle scent of alien flowers. "Do you think we made the right choice?" Elara asked, her voice filled with quiet wonder. Adrian took her hand. "I know we did. Humans survive, humans adapt, but humans also belong. Here, we belong." Elara rested her head on his shoulder, feeling the warmth and strength of his presence. "I never thought I'd find a place like this. Not just a planet, a home, and someone to share it with." Adrian kissed the top of her head gently. "Arden 9 gave it to us, and we'll honor it." Together, the night deepened, and the forest around them glowed faintly with bioluminescent plants. The crystals pulsed in response, almost like a heartbeat, steady and warm. Arden 9 had welcomed humans, tested them, and shown them that they could thrive not through dominance, but through understanding, respect, and connection. In the weeks and months that followed, their life became a rhythm of exploration, study, and harmony. They documented the planet's mysteries, communicated with the subtle intelligence of Arden 9, and built a small community of knowledge for future human visitors. They shared laughter, discovery, and quiet moments beneath alien stars, always aware of the privilege they had been given. Elara often reflected on their journey. From the first landing on Arden 9 to the storm that had tested them, to the crystal visions of alien history, every step had led them here. Humans had survived the impossible, and here, they had done more than survive. They had become part of something greater. One evening, as they sat together by the glow of the largest crystal, Elara whispered again, "What if we meant to stay here forever?" Adrian smiled, holding her close. "Then we did. Arden 9 has shown us the way, and we will walk it together. Above them, the stars stretched endlessly across the sky, a reminder of the universe beyond. But here, on this living, intelligent world, Elara and Adrian had found something rarer than exploration, rarer than survival, a home, a purpose, and the quiet, steady heartbeat of a planet that had welcomed them as equals, partners, and friends. Humans had crossed the stars, survived the unknown, and discovered worlds beyond imagining. But here on Arden 9, they had learned something new, that humanity's true strength lay not just in endurance, but in connection, understanding, and the courage to build something lasting. As Alara rested her head on Adrian's shoulder, watching the crystals glow softly in the twilight, she felt an unshakable certainty. Arden 9 was their home now, and together, humans could thrive in ways the stars had never seen. The planet hummed gently, welcoming them fully, as the first night of their new life stretched into a peaceful, hopeful future.